Hi class, I wanted to go over the instructions for the first essay, which is the argumentative essay. As all of you know, we have been brainstorming topics in our discussion number 2. And next week in discussion number 3, we are going to officially select a topic. So I wanted to go over the instructions just so that you guys can get a better sense of what the expectations are. So in order to see the instructions and to get more information on the assignment, you want to go ahead and go to the argumentative essay module. In this module, you will go ahead and find the instructions, and you will also go ahead and find some helpful resources that will help you develop and organize your essay, as well as other parts of the essay such as the opposition rebuttal. And here, paintball essay sample, that's actually a sample essay that you can go ahead and look at, which is an essay that was written by a student. It used to be in one of the older textbooks that we used to use, so it is a good example in case you want to see what an essay looks like. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and click on the assignment instructions. You can go ahead and find a document, or you can also go ahead and click on the assignment where it's going to be submitted. So if we go ahead and look at this, it goes ahead and tells you that the essay should be 3 to 4 pages and it is worth 100 points. The essay should be double spaced and it should be in Times New Roman, or it should be in Calibri. And let me go ahead and show you how to set up your essay. So here we have Word, and how you want to set up your essay is you want to go ahead and set it up in APA style. And APA style, the name is on the left side. So you just go ahead and you write down your name, you write down the class, and then you go ahead and you write down the date. I don't have a problem, I don't have a preference if you want to spell out the month or if you just want to go ahead and write it in numbers. Typically, you want to write down the date of the date when the assignment is due. So once you have done that, you want to enter twice, and then you want to go ahead and center the cursor, and you go ahead and you write down your title. Now the title should be an original title. It should not be Essay 1, or it should not be Persuasive Essay or anything like that. The original title should go ahead and reflect what your essay is about. So the reader is actually going to read the title first. That's the first thing that the reader sees, and the title should give them a good idea of what your essay is about. So once you have your title, you can go ahead and enter twice again. And this is very important. I see a lot of students who forget this. You want to go ahead and align your cursor to the left again, because if you don't, your whole essay is going to be typed in the center and the margins are going to be off and the whole essay is going to be off. So it's important that after you centered your title, you go back to the left side. Then here, of course, you want to indent. You want to indent by pressing tab anytime you start a new paragraph, and then you can go ahead and start typing your introduction. So let's say my topic is on guns on college campuses. I can go ahead and start my essay. So this is one way that I can go ahead and start my essay. Something else you want to do, because it is an APA style, you want to go ahead and insert page numbers. Now, the best way to do this is to go ahead and insert page numbers as opposed to inserting a header. If you insert a header, the header remains the same throughout every page. So then you would have to go insert a header and insert a page number. So in order to do it in one step, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and press insert, and then you go to insert page number, and then you click on top of page, and then you click on option number 3. Once you have option number 3, you want to go ahead and type in your last name, okay? So I am showing you examples with my name, but of course you're going to write down your name and you're going to write down your last name. So let me just show you. Pretend I'm writing my essay and I'm going all the way down. You can see that it automatically changes my second page to Herrera 2. So this is the easiest way to do it, because like I said, if you insert a header, it's going to give you the same everywhere. So you would have to do 2 steps. So that is how you set up your essay. Let's go ahead and talk more about the actual instructions. Okay, so here I have the instructions, and now that we've talked about how to set up your paper, you want to make sure that you follow the guidelines. The first guideline is to make sure that your topic is an argumentative topic. You do not want to pick a topic that is subjective, opinion, faith, or a fact, right? Simply because, like we've talked about this, and like the PowerPoint that we discussed last week talks about, these topics do not lend themselves to arguments. So I will go ahead and approve your topic during next week's discussion, and in case it doesn't work, or in case it's subjective, or it doesn't meet the guidelines set forth in this, I will go ahead and tell you so that you can go ahead and tweak it. The other thing that you have to take into consideration is that your essay has to include background information, convincing reasons, and you should also appeal to the reader's values, so you should take audience into consideration, and it should also have opposition and rebuttal. Of course, you want to utilize a credible tone, and you want to go ahead and use standard academic English. Another thing that you want to take into consideration is that you are going to include appeals to pathos, ethos, and logos. And again, we are discussing those this week, so that's something that you want to make sure that you get a good understanding of, because you will be required to incorporate ethos, pathos, and logos in your essay. And basically what they are is, logos is the appeal to logic, right? So your argument has to make sense. Your reasons have to be logical. Ethos is the appeal to credibility and trustworthiness. So you want to make sure that you don't use fallacies, that you use credible sources. You want to make sure that you don't plagiarize. You also want to make sure that you do not distort what the author is saying, that you remain true to the authors and to your sources. Pathos is the appeal to emotion and values and beliefs. So for this one, you want to go ahead and appeal to those universal values that we all share, such as safety, health, success, family, all of those values that we all share. You want to go ahead to appeal to those, and you also want to go ahead and appeal to the human side of people, right? Because we are not robots, so appealing to just logos and ethos will not make a successful argument, because you have to remember that your audience needs to relate to you in order to convince an audience. They have to be able to relate to you, and how they relate to you is through pathos. And of course, I mentioned again, you have to have reasons, and you have to have opposing views and a rebuttal. The other thing I want to mention is that you should not use the word you. Formal papers are written in third-person point of view, so you want to go ahead and avoid using you. For example, instead of saying something like you should vote, you can go ahead and change it to all citizens should vote, or society should vote, members of society should vote. So that's an example. Something else that you want to keep in mind is that you need a minimum of 4 sources. So this essay does require that you do research. The sources can be anything from websites, books, online databases, magazines, and things like that. You do want to keep in mind, though, that I do not want all websites, okay? It's okay to use a website like the New York Times. That does not count as a website. That would count as an online newspaper. So you can only use one website that's like a .com, .net, but you want to use a variety of sources, okay? It's okay if they are all found online, but like I said, you can use online newspapers, online encyclopedias, online magazines, online databases. The point is that I don't want just a bunch of sources from Google, okay? And of course, in the upcoming weeks, we are going to go over how to evaluate sources, so you will be responsible for evaluating the credibility and authority of the sources. And everything should be formatted in APA style, and you should include a reference page. This, of course, does not pertain to you, because this is an online class, so we will not be having a peer review for this essay. Going back to the module, I wanted to show you what resources I have written, or I have included here. We already went over this PowerPoint last week, but I wanted to show you what we have here. This handout right here is called Persuasive Argument Essay Handout, and it basically tells you how to organize your essay. So if we look at it, it tells you you should have the introduction, you should have the body, So in the body, you discuss your reasons. In the second paragraph, you discuss your first reason. Third paragraph, second reason. Fourth paragraph, third reason. And then the fifth paragraph should be your opposition rebuttal. Of course, you could break down this into 2 paragraphs if you prefer, and then you have your conclusion. Keep in mind that you should appeal to ethos, pathos, and logos throughout the entire essay, not just in the conclusion. So if we go ahead and move on, here we have another handout. This handout is an essay guide, and basically, if you print it out, I think it's a little bit more helpful. If you print it out, it might come out gray, so it might be a bit dark, but what I really like about this is that if you fill it out, it basically organizes your essay for you. So for example, right here, you would go ahead and write down your prompt question. For example, should guns be allowed on college campuses? That could be my question, my prompt question. And then of course here I state if I agree or not, why, I give a first reason. Here I discuss that in detail, and then my second reason, third reason, and then it asks about my opposition, and it has some information on logos, ethos, and pathos. So as you can see, this is a good handout to use if you want to organize your essay. It helps you organize it a little bit better, and it helps you to stay focused as well. The next handout that I have here is a PowerPoint that we're supposed to be going over this week, and this basically talks about how you should organize your essay. It is from the Purdue OWL website, so the online writing lab. So it's really helpful, and of course you want to go over that because we are having a quiz over this PowerPoint. And then here I have a handout that basically asks some questions to get you started thinking about your topic. I think this one is more helpful to do at the beginning of your assignment, just so you can start thinking about, because it asks you what are some reasons you will present to support your argument, what evidence do you have from your own experience. So again, it's basically just a list that you can form by, or a list that you can create just by answering the questions. And I think that this is a good starting point. It's the questions definitely cover every aspect of the essay, and like I said, it's a good starting point. Moving on to the next handout, this is the rubric. This is the rubric that we are going to use for the common exit essay, but it is also the rubric that we use for the first essay, right? So the first essay is the type of essay that you will be expected to write for the common exit essay as well. So the common exit essay is going to be a classic argument. And basically for the rubric, you will be evaluated on documentation, focus, development, and clarity, right? And of course, I want to point out that this right here refers to opposition rebuttal, and this over here refers to in-text citations and a reference list, which we will be going over in the upcoming weeks. And of course, do you present a thesis? Do you present an argument? Do you have a thesis? So go ahead and look at that so you know what's expected of you. And then here I have some information on how to write an opposition rebuttal. Some students tend to struggle with that, so definitely go ahead and take a look at that. And here I have a link. Here again is the paintball essay sample that shows you how to write the essay, or shows you a sample. This essay is obviously longer than the one we are doing, but nonetheless it is a really good example. And this has a really good opposition. It actually has it addresses 2 opposing views in their opposition, so it's broken down into multiple paragraphs, but he does a really good job with his oppositions. So here we have the assignment sheet, and the assignment page, sorry. And if you go ahead and look at it, it tells you the instructions again, which we already went over. And then you also have a rubric. The rubric tells you how many points each criteria is worth. So for example, do you present a thesis, an argument, that is worth 10 points. So a thesis statement would be worth 10 points. The reference list and the in-text citations are worth 15. And then if you want to submit the assignment, you just go ahead and click on submit assignment, and you choose a file and then submit. So please let me know if you have any questions. Please keep the due date in mind. And like I said, please let me know if you have any questions.